Maya's house, night. The house seemingly made up from wooden shingles, with lights on in the downstairs windows. Haddonfield, October 31st, 1963. Internal, Maya's house, light. Judith's bedroom. A bedside lamp gives out a small but pleasant glow to the room. Judith Myers, 17, beautiful and innocent, combs her long dark hair as she sits at her makeup bench opposite a large mirror. She pauses momentarily to look at herself, changing her posture into something more, a pose that a model would capture in a magazine. She smiles to herself, embarrassed, before dropping the act and continuing to comb her hair. Exterior, Maya's house, night. POV. Something moves towards the house, slowly. The multiple happy sounds of trick-or-treaters in the near distance stop its movement. It slides slowly to the right, where bushes provided with cover. Centennial Maya's house, Judith's bedroom. Ding-dong, ding-dong. Judith stops combing her hair, shocked. Judith gets up from her chair in a state of panic, double-checks her appearance in the mirror. She slips her recently painted toe-nailed feet into some pink fuzzy slippers, before checking the time on the clock on her dresser. It reads 7:44 p.m.
15 minutes early! I'll kill him!
She darts out of her room, rushing back seconds later to check herself in her mirror with a despondent look. Interior Maya's house, staircase. Judith hurries down the staircase. The doorbell rings again, and again, impatiently.
God damn it, Danny, I'm coming.
Judith reaches the last couple of steps. The doorbell rings again. The knocker of the door is battered twice.
Danny, I'm coming.
Judith reaches the bottom of the staircase, and to a beveled glass-windowed door. Judith composes herself. She opens the door with a fake smile to be greeted by... Outside, standing on the porch, are 5 children dressed in Halloween costume attire. Cheaply made costumes adorn each, but they huggle together like a clan of troublemakers, each with an oversized bag already filled with sweets, demanding further fulfillment. Frankenstein seems to be the leader of the clan. Witches, mummies, Dracula, and a couple so badly made up it is too unrecognizable to name who they are trying to replicate.
Trick or treat, give us something good to eat.
Judith relaxes and grins at the kids' awful but attempt of a performance. She lingers at the door for a moment.
What will you do if I don't?
The kids look at each other and giggle nervously. They have never met defiance such as this.
Will Frankenstein get me?
Judith wrangles her fingers to resemble a witch amusingly, but the kids seem slightly off-put. A couple giggle nervously.
Will the mummy get me?
Again, Judith continues her attempt at humor to the kids, who seem to find it confusing and annoying more than amusing. Judith's attention is taken to a car heading slowly down the road toward her. She follows the car with her eyes. Sparse streetlights illuminated by a 1959 Chevy. She recognizes it. Keen to get the troublesome brats out of the way, Judith grabs a pot of sweets from inside the hall and hands them out to the grateful hands of the children.
Okay, that's enough.
The kids, having taken almost the entire contents of the bowl in Judith's apparent state of confusion, leg it from the house in giggles, taking off down the next street in case of being caught taking too much candy. The giggling, yet childish, unintentionally mocking cries of, "Happy Halloween!" are heard. Judith returns the bowl to its place in the hall without a glance and shuts the door. She runs up the staircase frantically. Interior Maya's house, Judith's bedroom. Judith removes her dressing gown and dresses into her layout that has been spread out in her bed. Knee socks, her bra, her blouse, panties, then sweater. Ding dong, ding dong. The doorbell annoyingly sounds twice more. Judith curses under her breath as she checks herself in the mirror one more time, insecurely. Interior Myers' house, hallway. Judith opens the front door. Standing at the entrance is Danny Glint, 18. A typical jock type dressed in jeans and a casual t-shirt.
Oh, Danny, it's you.
Who'd you expect? James Tramer?
Oh, please. I thought it might be some kids trick-or-treating. Come in.
Judith turns and walks away, leaving Danny to walk inside and close the door behind him. Interior Myers' house, living room. Danny follows Judith through the darkened room to the fully lit kitchen. Interior Myers' house, kitchen. Judith makes sure the back door is shut before Danny has his hands around her from behind. She turns the lock in the door, turns and they kiss, hands all over each other. Judith gently pushes Danny away and gives him a playful smile.
My parents will be home any minute now.
Yeah, right. You told me they always go to the movies on Halloween night to get away from the doorbell ringing every 5 seconds.
Judith walks past Danny to the sink. She pulls out one of the drawers and takes out a gleaming butcher knife.
Hey, what are you doing?
Judith raises the knife above her head, Norman Bates style.
I'm gonna cut off your thingamajig, my pretty.
Judith cackles, impersonating the Wicked Witch of the West. She dashes towards Danny with the knife. He backs off, alarmed to the locked door, watching as Judith slams the knife into a pumpkin on the side. Judith laughs as she looks at Danny's shell-shocked expression.
You goof! I'm making a pumpkin!
Danny looks at Judith. He sighs in relief. Judith pulls the knife from the top of the stabbed pumpkin and hands the knife to Danny.
You cut all the goo out and I'll do the face.
Danny takes the knife and sets to work on carving a circular mound around the pumpkin stalk.
Typical. Leave it to the man to do the dirty work.
Judith snuggles up behind Danny, rubbing her hands up and down his chest softly.
My hands are better at doing other things. Any objections?
Judith's hands move lower. Danny smiles gleefully, his hands slightly trembling as he carves the pumpkin open.
None, just so long as you let me do some dirty work on you afterwards.
Exterior, Myers' house, night. The front door of the house opens. Danny walks out and sits the now completed jack-o'-lantern on the porch. Its rushed cut is obvious, but the lit candle inside brings the vegetable to a menacing light. Danny looks out at the quiet neighborhood, drawing in some fresh air, and rubs his arms to warm himself from a swift, sudden gust of wind. The street is aligned with similar but better carved glowing pumpkins, and kids scuttling from house to house. The odd, faint chant of trick or treat fills the air. Danny looks up at the cloudy but in spaces starlit sky. Interior Myers' house kitchen. Judith is washing up the cutlery and utensils used to make the pumpkin. She dries them with a towel and places them back in their respective drawers. She looks to the living room. It is dark and only the sound of a ticking clock can be heard.
Danny?
Interior Myers' house, living room, continuous. Judith walks into the dark living room. Where she can see the front door. It is closed. Judith looks confused. Judith calling upstairs.
Danny? You up there?
No response. The sound of the ticking clock continues. It seems to be the only sound in the house. Tap, tap, from the back door window. Judith turns round a little startled. Interior Myers' house kitchen, continuous. She heads inside and stops short at the back door. Judith loudly.
Danny, trying to get me back for the knife thingy? I know it's you.
Judith unlocks and opens the door. There is no one there. A cool breeze takes her by surprise. She closes the door slowly, before a white masked figure rushes inside, bursting the door open. Judith backs away, too afraid to utter a sound. Her eyes open wide in horror at the sight of a tall figure wearing a Frankenstein mask. Danny's t-shirt on. And his jeans. Laughter from inside the mask. Danny removes the Frankenstein mask and puts it on the side table as he laughs at Judith's still stunned reaction. Judith's relief is obvious before she goes into a small fit of giggles.
You...
Danny takes her in his arms.
Now, one trick deserves another, Judith.
Judith smiles. Her apparent state of being scared has made her only want to cling on to Danny more. Danny kisses her.
My parents won't be back until 10.
What about your brother, Mark?
It's Michael. I told you at school, he's out trick-or-treating. We've got time, but not a lot. So no more yakking or jokes, okay?
No more tricks, just treats.
Danny grabs Judith and kisses her one more time. Interior Myers' house. Staircase. Judith playfully runs up the staircase, followed by a smiling and lustful Danny. Interior Myers' house. Landing. Judith giggles as she kisses with Danny. She walks backwards towards her open bedroom door, enticing him in. Danny takes his time approaching Judith's room. He looks back and notices a cheap-looking clown mask hanging from the top of the staircase rail. He takes it and looks at it, laughing at its design. A typical, happy clown smile. Red rings around the cut-out eye holes, and a long red pointed snout for a nose.
This thing looks like it's got a cock on the end of it.
What did you say?
Danny tosses the mask casually onto the floor, as enters Judith's room. Interior Myers' house, Judith's bedroom. Judith is posed seductively on her bed, albeit a little shy. Danny's eyes are not the only things popping out.
I said, with you on this bed, I want to be on top of it.
He removes his top as Judith waits, both expectantly and excited. He joins her on the bed and begins to kiss her, rubbing her with over-eager hands, much to Judith's delight. He moves down to kiss her neck as Judith purrs.
So this is what it's gonna be like to do it in a bed at last.
Uh-huh. This is what it's like doing it in a bed.
Danny fails to look up at Judith as he removes her top. Moments later, Danny gets up from Judith and grabs his shirt from the floor.
I'd better go before your parents get back.
He takes his shirt and heads out of the room, quick enough to give Judith no chance of possibly pulling him back. Judith sits up from her bed.
Will you call me tomorrow?
The sound of footsteps are heard thundering down the staircase as Judith looks out of her room at a dark landing hallway.
Yeah, sure.
The front door is heard opening, then closing with a slam. Judith hops up from the bed and takes a seat on her chair opposite the mirror once more. She takes her comb from her dresser with a smile and begins to hum a pleasant tune to herself. She looks radiant, completely love-struck. Judith sings softly to herself. All her insecurities before the big date have now been removed. The clock in the house rings bells loudly. It is 10 o'clock.
I wish I had you, all of them. Just the two of us.
Judith writes down in her diary book the lyrics to her song. She feels a breeze. Judith stops writing and looks to her right towards her curtain-covered window. They are unmoved. She turns back to her mirror and begins to recite her song again. Writing it down, a sudden thought hits her.
Michael! Michael?
Judith turns to see a figure in her doorway, the shape of a child dressed in a clown costume and mask. The same mask that was left on the floor of the hallway lunges towards her with a butcher knife in its raised hand.
Michael?
Judith puts up her hands to instinctively protect her as the child rains down the knife viciously towards her, stabbing her arms, slicing her wrists, and cutting her breasts and chest. The stabbing motion hastens to a rapid, violent fury as the masked child hacks viciously at Judith's naked body. Judith collapses back on her chair, her movements frozen as blood leaks from her wounds. The killer clown child looks away from his victim and to his own knife as he releases a last burst of malevolent violence. Judith's exposed and bloody body slumps to the floor as the now heavily breathing assassin turns and walks from the room. Interior Myers house landing, POV. Breathing heavily, walking towards the staircase. Interior Myers house staircase, POV. Heavy breathing, excited, anxious, walking down the staircase. The sound of a car arriving outside is heard. At the hallway of the house, the child assassin opens the door and walks out. Exterior Myers house, night. The child slowly walks from the front door down the garden path. From a car parked outside the house emerges a man and a woman, John and Edith Myers. The killer stops at the foot of the garden path. John and Edith both walk over to him with curious expressions. Edith removes the mask from the child, a boy, Michael Myers. 6 years old with angelic looks but deep, dark brown eyes. John, confused, takes the bloody knife from Michael's hands. Edith.
Michael?
The child remains as still as a statue.